Today, we're going to hear from Erin Kuhn, who is the Executive Director of the West Michigan Shoreline Regional Development Commission, otherwise known as WMSRDC. She's going to give you the 15-second spiel of what they do, and then she's going to talk about the exciting project that she's working on. So join me in welcoming one of our own, Erin Kuhn.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Erin Kuhn. I am the Executive Director of the West Michigan Shoreline Regional Development Commission, and as Bob said, also known affectionately as WMSRDC. We've been known as WMSRDC for a long, long time, but we are a state and federal designated regional planning and development agency. So what the heck does that mean? We basically administer state and federal programs locally. We're considered a local unit of government, but don't have the same statutory authority as most units of government, which means we can't tax you. So you should like us. Anyways, we administer programs in transportation planning, in environmental planning. Many of you know a lot of the work that's happening around Muskegon Lake, and I'll talk about that a little bit here in a second. Also, Homeland Security. We're the fiduciary for a 13-county Homeland Security for our region. And we also administer programs in our local government services, hazard mitigation planning, and economic development as well. So we wear a lot of hats. We are involved in a lot of things, but usually behind the scenes, so we're not very well known. But with that, we are embarking on a lot around the Port of Muskegon, and I'll give you a little bit of history here of where we started and where we're going. As you know, the Muskegon Lake has been a very long-term economic engine for Muskegon through the lumber era and the industrial era, and it is the deepest water port on Lake Michigan on the west side here, and it's a very valuable asset that we have. And what we're trying to do now with the change of the landscape around the lake is we're trying to reposition Muskegon as a regional logistics hub, a multimodal regional logistics hub around Michigan's blue economy. And what that means is in the past, or different from the past, we want this to be sustainable and sensitive to the environment and the health of Muskegon Lake, as well as an economic engine. So what are the drivers behind what we're doing? The number one, or one of the big drivers, is the closing of the BC Cobb plant. It's scheduled to close in April of 2016, and which means we will be losing 640,000 tons of movement in and out of our port of coal, and that will end with this shipping season. So late fall, whenever winter decides to come join us here in West Michigan. And what's significant about that is that the Army Corps of Engineers requires a minimum of 1 million tons being moved in and out of the port to be eligible for dredging. So that has a big impact on the economic significance of this deep water port that we have. So the local business leaders and community leaders have been railing around this, trying to figure out how do we replace that tonnage, because losing 640,000 tons will bring us below that threshold. Another big driver is, as you all know, Muskegon Lake, with our past history, has had a lot of environmental degradation. And back in the 80s was placed on the EPA list as being an area of concern. And since then, we've been working as a community to clean up the lake. And I'm very happy to announce that we are very close to being delisted within the next 3 to 5 years. There's a few more big projects, environmental projects, that have to happen before we are delisted. There are 14 in the state of Michigan. 2 of them have been removed from the list. White Lake just happened and came off the list this summer, and I'm very pleased to announce that Muskegon is the next in line to be removed from that list. There's a lot of efforts, as I mentioned, railing around Muskegon Lake from multiple different areas. One of those is the county's Muskegon County Port Advisory Committee, and that was created and established by the Board of Commissioners probably about 2.5 years ago, and it's made up of public and private leaders, again, to look at this potential issue that we will have in the loss of tonnage. And that group has done a lot of work over the last 2.5 years and have put together 2 subcommittees. One is the Economic Development Subcommittee, and I'm very active in that one, along as there's many people in this room that have been involved in the Port Advisory Committee and these subcommittees. And we've identified 5 areas or tasks to do to help us move forward with this project. One is to look at what studies have been done. There's been a lot of studies that have been done focusing around Muskegon Lake. Not all of them are economic studies. We've identified, I believe, Jonathan, 42 studies that have some sort of relationship to Muskegon Lake. Whether that's infrastructure, land use planning, and economic, environmental, you name it, it's probably been studied. But believe it or not, we've found some that haven't, and we're going to be doing those. Which comes to my next point. They're a market analysis. Basically, this task was already done in Grand Rapids, and there's a phase 2 and phase 3. And what is being done with that study is looking at 10 companies in Kent County and seeing what is the volume of goods that are being moved in and out of those companies and how they're being moved and where they're going. And what is the potential of those goods being moved through the port. Phase 2 is to look at 10 companies in Muskegon County and do the same thing. Our funding has been stalled on that, so we're waiting to find more funding for that before we can move forward with phase 2, but phase 1 has been completed. Our next 2 tasks are kind of tied together. WMSRDC has applied to the U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration for a grant to do a infrastructure analysis, and that's looking at all 4 modes of transportation, water, roads, rail, and air, around the Port of Muskegon, and how we can position ourselves to be that multimodal regional logistics hub. Do we have the capacity in those 4 modes to move additional goods? Do we have any deficiencies that we need to build up and fix before we can do that? So we are awaiting to hear word on that grant, hopefully. It's looking good at this point. The second part of that is to look at a governance structure around the port. An organization that could market and manage the port. There's been some studies in the past on a port authority, but what we want to do with this is look at many different structures. What are other ports around the country structured as? Look at everything from a port authority to a fully privatized organization. Everything in between, and find out what would work best here in Muskegon, recommend a structure, and implement that. So that's what those two tasks are for. And then we have the vision, Muskegon Lake Vision 2020. And that's pretty much why I'm here today, and I'll get into that a little bit in more detail here in a second. Then there's the marketing subcommittee. They have been very active as well. They have become members of the Great Lakes Port Association, and I'm happy to announce that July 22nd and 23rd, Muskegon will be host to the Great Lakes Port Association annual meeting, which means we'll have representatives from all of the ports around the Great Lakes, including Canada, right here in Muskegon, to show off our port. And they will be doing a land tour and a port tour, and Muskegon County has been very active in putting all of that together. Bob Lukens and Jonathan Wilson have been working on that, and I'm sure there's others here in the room that have also been working on that. But they put together marketing materials, and I think one thing that's important is that we are not waiting for all of these studies to be done before we're moving forward with the marketing of the port as a regional logistics hub. They're kind of moving at a parallel pace, and so we are still moving forward with that process along with the studies that we're doing. There are also other efforts going on. The Muskegon Lake Watershed Partnership has been an active group since the 1990s, and their main focus has really been looking at cleaning up the lake, identifying plans and areas where the lake can be cleaned up, establishing benchmarks to reach in the cleanup efforts. And like I said, we're very close to reaching those, and they have been a critical partner in making that happen, as well as other organizations that are involved with the Muskegon Lake Watershed Partnership. And then many of you are familiar with the Muskegon Area-Wide Plan. That was first completed in 2005 and then updated again in 2013. And in 2005, there really wasn't a whole lot of focus from an economic standpoint around the Port of Muskegon. But in 2013, the economy had changed, the landscape around Muskegon Lake had changed. So the lake became much more of a focus in the 2013 map.
The Health Hut, located at 3112 Henry Street in Norton Shores, offers a full line of natural and organic groceries, including fresh produce and free-range, hormone-free meats, eggs, cheese, and dairy provided by local farms. Taking pride in carrying products which contain no preservatives, additives, or unhealthy fats, their wide selection of allergen-free foods can accommodate most specialty diets. From frozen desserts and entrees to pastas, baking mixes and cereals, to soups and salad dressings, to chips, candy, and other snacks. The Health Hut. We have your good health in mind.
Hi, I'm Brenda Sprader. Facing serious legal problems alone can be disappointing and stressful. When your freedom, your loved ones, or your finances are at stake, it is important to seek legal representation. I'm an experienced trial attorney and will work hard to protect what is important to you. I strive for equitable resolution and provide confidential guidance. I cannot promise specific results, but I do promise to be committed to zealously fighting to ensure that your rights are protected and that justice is served. If you would like to meet with me to discuss your legal issues, please call the number on your screen for a free consultation.
With 4 convenient locations, Jack's Corner Store is one-stop shopping at its best. Tools, fresh meats, produce, chips, snacks, and other grocery items, beer, wine, and liquor, even gas and lottery. That's why Jack's is your corner store, and so much more.
The Butterburger is made of just 3 cuts of fresh Midwest beef. Nothing more, nothing less. It reminds me of the good old days when we first opened Culver's. We would call up the butcher shop and we'd buy our beef from there each and every day.
You can't get any fresher than that.
Well, today we still get fresh beef into our restaurants. We don't skimp on the quality of our beef. So we got the sirloin, the chuck, and the plate. No fillers, that's it.
All prize cuts, all well marbled for richness and flavor. And you put those all together, that ends up to be a very high quality burger.
This is where those 3 wonderful cuts of beef come together.
You can just tell that blend is working in there.
And we sear them, and that seals in the juices of the burger. And that's where that wonderful steak taste comes from.
It doesn't get any better than that.
You know, all our burgers are cooked to order. But that's a little different than most of our competitors. The Culver's Butterburger.
Craig, that is one great burger.
Welcome to Delicious.
Hi, I'm Brenda Harris with Nexus Realty, turning dreams into an address. I support DSETV.
Now the Vision 2020. Why are we doing the Muskegon Lake Vision 2020? What we want to do is look at the entirety of the lake, all the way around the lake, and how do we, like I said earlier, make it sustainable from an economic standpoint, a recreation standpoint, and an environmental standpoint, and continue this as a community asset. And our agency really has received a lot of comments locally. You know, what's going to happen to the lake now that we're so close to cleaning it up, and we're going to have additional commercial vessels going on the lake. What's that going to do to our environment? What's that going to do to our boating on the lake? It's an excellent sailing lake. How's that going to affect what we do? And then our state and federal partners who have helped fund a lot of the environmental cleanups on the lake are also concerned what's your vision? How are you going to make this sustainable with what we're doing? And this is very good timing. I just got a call, those of you who know Kathy Evans, who is our environmental program manager at WMSRDC. She's in Lansing right now with a lot of our state partners, and she called me on the way here and mentioned that the state next week will be announcing unveiling their Michigan water strategy. And us being where we are and just doing the Vision 2020 will be very well placed to help implement the state's vision with our local vision, because we'll have what we want to do identified. So really, really excited about that. We will be having 4 forums, and we're going to focus each of those forums on one of our topic areas here, and that's the environment and natural resources, outdoor recreation, commerce and commercial port activity, and then residents, not just on the lake, but near the lake. We will have expert speakers, 2 of which are Rotarians here. We have Bob Lukens and Al Steinman will be 2 of our expert speakers there. We'll have clicker questions, which I'm going to do here, share some of the questions we'll be asking at the forums. And then we're going to have breakout tables so we can dive a little deeper into these areas and how they affect us personally. We're going to focus on 4 criteria for each of our assets, and that's the quantity. For example, recreation, outdoor recreation. Do we have enough? Do we have enough variety of different outdoor recreational activities? Distribution. Can you get to outdoor recreational activities all the way around the lake? Accessibility. Is it accessible to both residents and tourists? And then the aesthetics. How does it look in our community? How does it make us feel? And these are the forums that we will be having. And in the back table, I have our brochure out there. This, and it has these, this is the inside of this, so please grab those. They start next week, June 10th and then 11th. And I know this is hard to read. So June 10th, we have the environment with Al Steinman is our expert speaker. All 4 forums will be held at the Grand Valley Michigan Alternative Renewable Energy Center from 4:30 to 7:30. So our first one is on June 10th. Then we have outdoor recreation on June 11th. The commerce and commercial port activity will be on June 23rd. And then residential will be on June 24th. And then with that, I have some teaser questions. So if everybody could grab their little clicker. And if you don't have one, we have extras. Yeah, go ahead. So first of all, we want to know, because we're going to use these in our final vision when we unveil the final document. So we are going to ask you some demographic questions because we value what you guys think too. So, what is your age? 99. All right. It won't let you vote twice. Sorry. It takes your final vote. All right. Next. There's another clicker. Yeah. Where do you live? Do you live in the city of Muskegon, the city of North Muskegon, Laketon Township, Muskegon Township?
I'm sorry.
We're focusing around the lake, so those are the communities that are adjacent to the lake. So do you live somewhere else? Somewhere else in Muskegon County, outside of Muskegon County, or somewhere in West Michigan, and then any other?
Yeah, West Norton Shores. I don't know.
Other Muskegon County.
5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 101. Some people didn't want to share their age. All right, go ahead. There we go. Yep. Okay. Next is, where do you work? Do you work in the city of Muskegon, the city of North Muskegon, Laketon Township, Muskegon Township, somewhere else in Muskegon County, Newaygo County, Oceana County, Kent County, Ottawa County, or other? Retired. Oh, good one. See, you're our guinea pig, so we can fix that. Is that other? That would be, yeah. Other. 10 is 0. Yes, and other. On your clicker, the 0 is the 10. All right, go ahead. There we go. Wow.
You're either working in Muskegon
or retired. Yeah, you're either working in Muskegon or you're retired. All right, next, what is your educational level or attainment? You're helping us. We'll have tweaks for our official forum next week, so I appreciate that. All right. Okay, these are some of the questions that will be asked at the forums. So with this one, the amount or abundance of natural resources in and around Muskegon Lake is sufficient. Do you strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree? Natural resources, that is the, this is basically the environmental around the lake, the aquatic habitat, the wetlands, the fishing.
This question's kind of vague.
Need some. Well, in the forums, we'll be giving definitions of the 4 topics and what we mean by that. Okay. Okay, good. Next one. Similar question. The amount of recreational assets around Muskegon Lake is sufficient. All right, interesting. Okay, next. Muskegon Lake is a valuable resource for commerce in the region.
Yes.
That. Next one. The proximity of residential assets to recreation, commercial, and natural space around Muskegon Lake is appropriate. So can you live near Muskegon Lake and still, is there enough opportunity to live near Muskegon Lake and do your shopping, do your recreation, and enjoy the lake? Interesting. Okay. That is all the questions I have for you. Just want to say that we hope you can make the forums. Like I said, these were just one question from each of the forums that we pulled out that we'll be using. Once we get it all together into one forum and one topic area, I think it'll probably make a little bit more sense. We will define those topics and have our expert speakers there. We encourage you to come to the forums. And also, we have TV 96 here recording my presentation today. They would also like to record each one of the forums and have them available for us to show on our website as well as to show on their channel. However, they are a nonprofit and are looking for assistance in doing that. So if anybody is interested in donating to help make that happen, or know of an organization that might be willing to donate to make that happen, please let me or TV46 know, and we'll hopefully be able to get that broadcast for us.
In the 150 years we've been in business, many things have changed. Our greatest achievements are rooted in the things that haven't. Years ago, the person you called banker was also the person you called friend. When it came to service, there were fewer layers and friendlier smiles. And banks earned the trust of their customers and community while working tirelessly not to lose it. At Independent Bank, all this remains true today. Sure, we've made advances that help customers bank more conveniently and more comfortably. But at the end of the day, we know that people really need a trustworthy partner committed to their financial goals, dreams, and aspirations. And we've been happy to be that partner since 1864.
Since 1980, Winston Speedway has been bringing the best of West Michigan dirt track racing to the lakeshore. Late models, UMP Modifieds, Michigan Dirt Modifieds, Street Stocks, Bombers, Warriors, and Young Guns, featuring 11 to 16-year-old drivers. Between races, you can visit Winston Speedway's Candy Shack, where you'll find your favorite t-shirts, racing memorabilia, and pick from an assortment of candy. Or you can stop by the concession stand for pulled pork sandwiches, burgers, cheeseburgers, Polish dogs, hot dogs, french fries, as well as hot and cold beverages. Winston Speedway every Friday night. Pits open at 5, grandstand at 6, hot laps at 6:30, and racing begins at 7:30. For more information, you can call 231-737-9223 to reach the office, or 231-893-3023 on race day.
I believe that the true value of a funeral is the gathering together of people and the sharing of stories. Stories of love and honor, respect and memories. We gather together because we as human beings, we need that contact, that emotional connection that we get when we gather together. We gather together at all sorts of times, at birthdays and anniversaries, at graduations, retirements, weddings, and at funerals. And at each and every one of those gatherings, we tell stories. And it's through those stories that we show our love and respect. It's through those stories that we learn and grow. And it's through those stories that we heal. Gather together, share the stories, celebrate a life, heal the heart.
Hi, I'm Wendy from Healthy Focus, and you're watching DSE TV.